They didn't just suspend a player. They suspended the future of the sport. Breaking news this morning. The PGA Tour has officially denied Wesley Bryan's appeal regarding the LIV Duels controversy. The ruling is final. Wesley Bryan is banned from professional golf for the entire 2026 season. His crime? Playing a scramble on YouTube with his friends who happen to play for LIV Golf. The tour is calling it promotion of a rival league. But the fans are calling it suicide. Within minutes of the news, #FreeWesley began trending worldwide. Phil Mickelson just tweeted, "This is why the old system is dying. They are punishing a guy for growing the game because they couldn't monetize it." But here is the irony. By banning him, the PGA Tour might have just handed LIV Golf their biggest signing yet. I have a rumor from a source in Jupiter that Greg Norman has already sent a contract to the Bryan Bros this morning. Subscribe and hit the bell right now. If you want to see Wesley get his revenge, click that button. Let's discuss the offer. Here is exactly why Jay Monahan is terrified of a YouTuber. Find yourself a victim of old school rules, a bold rule breaker, or maybe just someone completely out of their depth. Let's unpack why the golf world suddenly turned its guns on Wesley Bryan. It all kicked off at what seemed like a chill, low-stakes YouTube event called the Duel Miami. It was supposed to be a flashy, influencer-style match play showdown packed with cameras, hype, and a vibe straight out of a Netflix reality show. But beneath the glitz and the banter, things got messy very quickly. This wasn't just some friendly exhibition to post on social media. It had backing from the other side. And that is when the drama exploded. Wesley Bryan, the fan-favorite golfer turned content creator, showed up ready to play alongside influencers and a few familiar faces connected to LIV Golf. He teed off under that blazing South Florida sun, completely not realizing that one swing was about to light up a full-blown political firestorm. On the surface, it looked harmless, just another fun side project in golf's growing entertainment scene. But behind the scenes, the PGA Tour had eyes on him, and they were absolutely not laughing. The reaction from the establishment was swift and brutal. According to reports, the PGA Tour didn't hesitate. They slammed the event as unsanctioned and labeled it a straight-up breach of tour rules. These are the kinds of ironclad contracts that demand players get official written approval before appearing anywhere else, especially when it smells even remotely like a rival's turf. The PGA's response was cold, sharp, and loud enough to send chills across every fairway in America. It sent a message that it doesn't matter if it's a full-blown tournament with a TV deal or just a chill YouTube collaboration filmed with GoPros. If the competition is in the picture, that is a line you do not cross. Wesley Bryan, known for his easygoing vibe and goofy, self-deprecating humor, didn't exactly keep it low-key either. The whole thing was filmed from every angle, with drone shots, mic'd-up jokes, and juicy behind-the-scenes clips that flooded golf Twitter faster than a Rory McIlroy drive. The match was already heating up online before the PGA dropped the hammer. And once they did, the golf world lost its mind. The wildest part of this entire saga is that Bryan wasn't even chasing a massive paycheck or trying to defect to another league. He wasn't switching sides. He was just there for the fun and the content. Yet he still got caught in the crossfire. The punishment came down instantly. A suspension that left fans stunned. A suspension for a YouTube match. Really? But the PGA Tour didn't care how innocent it looked to the average viewer. This was about control. They wanted to send a message loud and clear to every other pro with a YouTube channel. No matter who you are, if you mess with the opposition, you are on thin ice. The timing couldn't have been worse, coming just as the tour's relationship with its own players was already shaky and filled with mistrust. Bryan took it on the chin, but you could tell the frustration was real. He had spent years rebuilding his career, finding his lane online, making golf fun again for a younger generation. And now this. This suspension exposed the tour's biggest contradiction. For years, the PGA has been begging for younger audiences. They have been desperate for more digital energy, fresh faces, and the kind of engagement that influencers bring effortlessly. Yet, here was Bryan doing exactly that, bringing the sport to the masses, and instead of praise, he got punished. The golf crowd lit up social media, calling it old money panic, saying the tour couldn't handle losing cultural control. Even influencers outside of the golf bubble started chiming in, calling it one of the dumbest PR moves the PGA could possibly make. The optics were terrible. A billion-dollar institution trying to police a player for having fun on the internet. Fans started to wonder out loud, if they punish Bryan for this, what is next? The PGA might have won the rulebook battle, but they lost the public one instantly. Just like that. A small exhibition turned into a massive conversation about freedom, creativity, and who actually owns a player's image. Normally, when a player gets suspended, they issue a somber apology written by a lawyer. They beg for forgiveness. But Wesley Bryan is not your cookie-cutter PGA robot. When the news dropped, he didn't duck the noise. He met it head-on with his signature mix of humor and attitude. He fired off a tweet that instantly became legendary. He wrote, "I've officially been suspended from the PGA Tour. Didn't plan on playing any PGA events the rest of the year anyway. Might as well give y'all something to talk about today." The delivery was pure sarcasm, a smirk hiding behind every word. It didn't sound like a man facing punishment. It sounded like a YouTuber dropping merch after a viral moment. That post wasn't just a reaction. It was a vibe check. It completely stripped the PGA of their power. You can't hurt a guy who doesn't care. NBC Sports quickly confirmed the suspension, and the headlines wrote themselves. In a single post, Bryan went from being a fringe tour name to the new poster boy for the rebellion against the old guard. But if you think the PGA's ruthlessness stops at suspending YouTubers, you need to look at the much darker story happening at the very top of the food chain. This culture of control and image protection has targeted the biggest name in the history of the sport. Jack Nicklaus. While Wesley was fighting his battle on Twitter, a far more sinister legal war was unfolding in courtrooms. Out of nowhere, a wave of stories and accusations began surfacing. Narratives designed to twist public opinion and drag a legend's reputation through the mud. One shocker claimed that Jack had once considered a jaw-dropping $750 million offer to front the Saudi-backed league. This was massive. The idea that the Golden Bear, the symbol of tradition, could even be mentioned in the same sentence as the rival league sent shockwaves through every clubhouse. But according to Nicklaus's legal team, that so-called leak was nothing more than a setup, a smear campaign, to paint him as a sellout to the very tour he helped build. It gets worse. The second accusation cut even deeper, and it hit like a punch to the gut. Whispers started flying, allegedly fueled by corporate disputes, that the 85-year-old legend was battling dementia and was no longer capable of handling his own affairs. As his attorney, Eugene Stearns told the court, the narrative they were trying to spin was, "You need to take the keys away from him." It was a cold, calculated move meant to break him, not just as a businessman, but as a man. The goal was to silence a living icon right when his voice mattered most in the civil war of golf. But inside the courtroom, the real story finally came to light. Through sworn testimony and key documents, Nicklaus's legal team tore down the lies. Yes, there was a meeting in 2021, but the context was completely twisted to destroy his credibility. So what do these two stories, Wesley Bryan's suspension and the Jack Nicklaus smear campaign, tell us about the state of golf? They tell us that the sport is currently at war with itself. It is a battle between control and freedom, between the old guard protecting their territory and the new wave of creators and legends who refuse to be owned. Wesley Bryan didn't start a revolution, but he exposed how fragile the sport's politics really are. The PGA Tour looks outdated, defensive, and terrified of losing power to the digital wave. Meanwhile, Bryan's name is everywhere. He became the accidental symbol of golf's new generation. And for Jack Nicklaus, the fight proves that in this high-stakes business, nobody is safe from the crossfire. Not even the greatest of all time. The game has changed. It's not just about birdies and bogeys anymore. It's about who controls the narrative. And right now, the players are starting to take that control back.